Oh my goodness, look at this. Kevin, Stuart, and Bob were having the absolute best day ever in Gru's secret lab. But, they had been playing a little game they called Mummy Mayhem, which mostly involved wrapping Stuart in toilet paper. But then, Kevin had a brilliant and slightly mischievous idea. Let's make the biggest toilet paper ball ever! Heedy declared. Bob cheered. Bellow! Bigger ball! Stuart, still slightly dizzy from being unwrapped, just mumbled, PAPEL ... Quotes. So they started rolling and rolling and rolling. They grabbed every single roll from every single bathroom in the entire house. The little ball grew into a bigger ball, then a giant ball, and soon it was a colossal, humongous, ginormous ball of toilet paper. It was bigger than Kevin. It was bigger than Gru's car. It was almost as big as the lab door. They bounced it around, laughing and cheering. Woo! We did it! Kevin shouted, bouncing on top of the soft, white sphere. Bob was trying to take a bite out of it, thinking it was a giant marshmallow. Stuart was just happy to be rolling it. But then they heard it. Footsteps. Heavy footsteps coming down the stairs. Thump, thump, thump. It was Gru. Their eyes went wide. They looked at the giant toilet paper ball. They looked at the stray bits of paper scattered all over the lab floor. They looked at each other in panic. Gru, Bob whispered, his eyes filling with fear. Kevin immediately jumped into action. Hide, hide, he squeaked, pointing frantically around the messy lab. Stuart, being the quickest, dove behind a stack of crates, pulling a stray piece of toilet paper over his head like a tiny ghost. Bob, in his panic, tried to squeeze himself into a beaker, which was, of course, way too small. He ended up with just his head inside, his little blue body sticking straight out. It wasn't a very good hiding spot. Kevin, the leader, looked for the best hiding place. He saw the giant toilet paper ball. Perfect! He burrowed a small hole and squeezed himself inside, pulling the fluffy paper over the entrance. Now, the lab was silent, except for the sound of Bob wiggling in his beaker. The footsteps got closer. Thump! Thump! Thump. The doorknob began to jiggle. Click. Clack. The minions held their breath. They had completely forgotten about one tiny little detail in their rush to hide. The giant ball of toilet paper was leaning right against the door. Gru's voice boomed from the other side. Minions? Are you in there? It's unusually quiet, which usually means trouble. He pushed on the door. It didn't budge. He pushed harder. Still nothing. What in the name of ... is this door stuck? He grumbled. He put his shoulder into it and gave a mighty shove. Creak. The door started to open. Just a tiny crack. Through the crack, Gru could see ... white. Just a wall of soft, fluffy white. What is this? He muttered, confused. Inside, the minions were trembling. Kevin, from his hiding spot inside the ball, could feel the whole thing start to wobble as Gru pushed. He peeked through a tiny hole and saw the door opening. The ball was going to roll. And it was going to roll right into Gru. Stuart, seeing the wobble, let out a tiny, terrified eep. Bob, still stuck in the beaker, just kicked his little legs in the air. Gru took a deep breath and gave one final massive heave, HNNN, The door flew open, and the giant toilet paper ball, free at last, began to roll. It rolled slowly at first, and then it picked up speed. It was a toilet paper avalanche. Bello! Screamed Bob, as the ball rolled right past his beaker. Stuart zipped out from behind the crates and made a run for it. Gru stood there, his eyes wide with disbelief as a mountain of white fluff rolled directly towards him. Was all he could manage before ... The giant ball hit him square in the chest. Gru was sent flying backward, landing with a soft thud on top of the ball as it continued its journey. He tumbled and rolled, wrapped up in layers and layers of toilet paper. Minions! He yelled, his voice muffled by the paper. The ball, with Gru on top, rolled right through the lab, knocking over potions that fizzed and popped in rainbow colors. It bounced off a rocket and zoomed up the ramp towards the main house. Kevin was still inside, getting dizzier and dizzier. Woo. He yelled, spinning around like he was in a washing machine. Stuart and Bob chased after the ball, shouting, "Boss! Boss!" They had to save Gru. The toilet paper behemoth crashed through the living room wall, leaving a perfectly round hole. Agnes, Edith, and Margot looked up from their tea party, their jaws dropping. Whoa! A giant snowball. Agnes shouted with glee. The ball, with a very tangled Gru on top, rolled right past them, picking up a teapot and a few dolls along the way. It bounced off the couch, spun around the table, and headed straight for the front door. Crash! The front door burst open, and the ball rolled out into the yard, finally coming to a stop in the middle of the lawn. Silence. Then, a single arm, wrapped in toilet paper, stuck out from the top of the ball. Then, another. Gru slowly sat up, looking like a real-life mummy. He was covered from head to toe in toilet paper. He had a teapot on his head like a hat. He blinked, trying to process what just happened. Kevin popped his head out of the side of the ball, looking very dizzy. Stuart and Bob ran up, looking very worried. "Boss?" Bob asked timidly, poking Gru's paper-covered leg. Gru slowly turned his head, his eyes narrowing. He looked at the trail of destruction from the lab to his front lawn. He looked at the giant ball he was sitting on. And then he looked at his 3 little minions, who were now trying to look as innocent as possible. A slow smile spread across Gru's face. He started to chuckle. Then he started to laugh. A big, booming laugh that echoed across the neighborhood. A giant toilet paper ball. He roared with laughter. Only you 3 could cause this much chaos with bathroom supplies. The girls ran outside and started laughing too. Agnes jumped onto the big, soft ball. It's so fluffy, she yelled. Edith and Margot soon joined in, bouncing and laughing. Kevin, Stuart, and Bob looked at each other, relieved. They started cheering and jumped onto the ball too, bouncing with Gru and the girls. What started as a messy disaster had turned into the best, bounciest party ever. From that day on, Gru made sure to lock up the toilet paper. But he always smiled when he remembered the day his minions built a toilet paper mountain in his lab. What a crazy adventure! Those minions are always up to something silly. Thanks for joining us for this chaotic story. If you want to see more hilarious adventures with Gru and the minions, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye!